I think you can preach application in two very different ways. You can answer the question, how is this relevant to me? How does this apply to me today? You can do that. Or you can preach the gospel. You can say, God has given this promise to them. God is speaking the same promise to you today. And one calls for relevance, but the second way, preaching the gospel, that calls for repentance. And this is what we see in Esther chapter 4, where Mordecai preaches the gospel to Esther. He says in verse 14, a deliverance will arise for the Jews. God will save his people. That's the promise, that's the hope, that's the gospel. But then he applies that gospel to Esther. In verse 13, he says to her, do not think that you will be safe simply because you live in the king's house. And meaning, do not think that you'll be safe because you go to Cambridge, you go to this church or that church. Do not think that you are safe because you think you do not need to be saved. What's he doing? He's preaching the gospel. He's not just saying that this is relevant to you. He's saying, do you believe this? Will you trust in this same promise, this same gospel, this same God? Well, that's application according to Esther chapter 4. And this is day 2 of Esther chapters 3 to 4.